Oh, hey! I just got back from the Area 51 raid. It didn't go like we thought it would. Oh, God, so much blood. This is my look at Sonic Adventure 2. So Sonic Adventure wasn't that much of a hit. It had potential, but was limited by its linear design, unnecessary characters, and even a rather slow-paced story. So when development began on a sequel, because the first game was still a success, they omitted at least 2 of those things. But when people got pissy that there would be only 3 playable characters, when the previous had 6, they shoehorned Tails into the game, and 2 newbies who would absolutely ruin the franchise for the next 5 years. Who are these dumbasses? Well, let's find out. So we begin with Robotnik, now Dr. Eggman, invading a military base owned by the Guardian Unit of Nations, or simply GUN for short. He's there for a secret little project of theirs from half a century ago, which turns out to be an anthropomorphic hedgehog. Of course it does. This is Shadow the Hedgehog, an artificial being created for the sole purpose of being the ultimate life form. No, he isn't.
Yeah, nobody ever actually says this, but Shadow is just simply meant to be immune to all disease, and so they can harvest the antibodies in the system to cure a whole matter of illnesses, and save the life of one person in particular. But look! He has hover shoes! That's cool. So yeah, Eggman frees his new pet, who tells him to get the Chaos Emeralds and to meet him on the space colony, Ark. No, wait.
Dude, that's the wrong Ark. I meant the one with, like, the guy's face on it. No, the one that's, like, half a moon.
There you go. Meanwhile, out in the deserts, Knuckles runs to this Batgirl named Rouge who is trying to steal the Master Emerald. What's that? Why is Knuckles not on Angel Island? And why is the Master Emerald with him? Well, I assume that since we never saw Angel Island rise up back into the skies after Adventure 1's conclusion, God came and said,
"Yeah, no, we're not doing this again."
And now Knuckles is just carrying the thing wherever he goes. And conveniently, it's now pocket-sized. Otherwise, I have no clue. So yeah, in the heat of arguing, Eggman swoops in and attempts to steal the Master Emerald, which is then shattered by Knuckles. Rouge freaks out, but Knuckles assures her that it can be restored since he's done it before. This prompts Rouge to find all the shards before the Red Bastard can, to which he challenges her on. Meanwhile, Sonic has been arrested.
Oh, finally! It's about time that little delinquent got what he... Wait, what?
Alright, it looks like we got Sonic finally. He's been really hard to catch because he's so fast, but fortunately we have him in this enclosed space.
I'm gonna kill all of you!
Yep, we've heard that one before. Anyway, so,
I'm
wait.
busting out now! I'm actively busting out of the prison!
Oh god, he's actually doing it.
I'm now outside of the prison bars! Here I go!
You're fugitive to law, Sonic.
Wham! I told you! I was gonna break free!
You son of a bitch, Sonic.
Live and learn, everybody! That's what I'm talking about! Talk about a low-budget flight! No food or movies! I'm big! What are you doing here?
He's also being brought into custody.
You need to go back home! I have a suspicion you left the oven on! Oh, yeah. That's a cool JPEG.
Ooh, yeah, this video might not be good for the kiddies either.
Alright, so here's the deal. Since Shadow has been released from his cryogenic slumber by Eggman, he's been running around causing general disturbances and stealing Chaos Emeralds from the government. Makes sense for them to hold on to them. I mean, they are pretty valuable and destructive gems. But yeah, with Shadow running amok, everybody is mistaking him for Sonic, don't ask how, and so the Blue Blur has been arrested for crimes he didn't commit.
Are we sure this isn't just a commentary?
So after causing some general destruction that should result in them getting arrested anyway, Sonic runs into the Shadow, who is
making fucking mac and cheese, and nobody can stop!
With a Chaos Emerald in hand, Shadow demonstrates his power of Chaos Control, with the ability to stop time and teleport.
Never knew these things had that kind of power.
Anyway, Shadow disappears, leaving Sonic to be arrested again. Meanwhile, Rouge is infiltrated into Eggman's secret base of operations because, as it will be established later, she is actually a government agent sent to spy on the fat ass. It is a little confusing wondering why Gunn would recruit a jewel-obsessed thief, but this is fiction. This kind of shit happens all the time. So yeah, while in the fat ass's base, Rouge discovers a teleporter pad the Mad Doctor just used to travel to the Ark, which she promptly uses herself to chase after him. While on the Ark, Eggman meets up with Shadow, who presents him the Eclipse Cannon, a weapon with the power to destroy an entire planet.
Oh, God.
Shadow pitches to the Mad Doctor that with a threat like this hanging over the planet, the world's governments will quickly fall to the fat ass's will, and the world will be his to take over.
Of course!
At least, that's what I think they're both suggesting. I know the man can be stupid, but this can't really be his plan. Can it?
You idiot. What are you talking about, Shadow? Everything went according to plan. Now I can build my new empire.
And exactly where are you going to build it?
Oh, crud.
But for Shadow, that is his plan. With the power of all 7 Chaos Emeralds, it seems Shadow wants to destroy the Earth for revenge against the murder of someone near and dear to him. Regardless of their motives, the two agree to team up, but that's when Rouge shows up under the cover that she's here to help them collect the Chaos Emeralds. With no explanation to them, mind you. I mean, we as an audience know why she's doing this, but what's her story to these two? Whatever, so the trio head back to the military base Eggman found Shadow at, Prison Island. It turns out there are a few Chaos Emeralds sitting there that would be useful to the three. So they head in and...
Sonic! I thought I'd never see you again! I'm so glad you made it!
Of course, Amy eventually recognizes that it isn't Sonic and runs off. Eggman chases after her, but that's when Tails shows up to defend her. Turns out he was on his way to bust Sonic out of prison after he heard about his arrest over the news. And for this occasion, little dude has busted out his newest design, the Tornado 3, aka the Cyclone. He kicks Eggman's ass and helps Amy get Sonic out of jail, where he runs off to then bump into Shadow, who is on his way to rescue a cornered Rouge after retrieving the Chaos Emeralds. So the two scuffle for a bit, but are interrupted when Shadow gets a friendly reminder from Eggman that, oh yeah, they planted a bomb in the munitions cache to blow up the island. So everybody scatters in.
There goes Hawaii, there goes Hawaii, oh there goes Hawaii, the island is gone, there goes Hawaii.
Earth does look like a big blueberry.
Flashback ends.
Rouge thanks Shadow for saving her, but he insists that it was only for the Chaos Emeralds. And she's all like, whatever, but it's time. And now, a very special message from Dr. Ivo Robotnik.
Hey everyone, guess what? I know you want to buy my stocks, but fuck you. I am keeping the stocks. That's right, you ugly little girl. I hate you and your stupid nose. I'm taking everything from you. Give me your phone. I'm taking over Victoria's Secret. I'm taking over Best Buy. The news is mine, and everyone else can leave. You see that planet? I'm taking it down. It looks like a fucking walnut. Blam! And it busted a nut then and there.
Feel good.
Now die!
Oh thank God it missed!
Fuck you, Moon, you never had the cheese I wanted!
Oh. Well, that wasn't very nice. I think that's gonna have some kind of effect on the tides or something.
I hope you're ready to die. It's gonna be like Evangelion. Get the fuck out.
Cut the commercial. Cut the commercial!
Hey! What are you doing still playing Atari when you could be playing the Sega Genesis? 16 bits of blast processing!
The brand new Sega Genesis, brought to you by Sega. skyrocket into the next generation with sleek new graphics, sounds, and everything else that can kick any system's ass. 16-bit never looked so good.
Overload your 8-bit senses with this.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Control Sonic as you speed past 7 colorful levels and stop the evil Dr. Robotnik from kidnapping all the animals and taking over the world. Sega Genesis, the best thing that's happened since your birth and creation. Extra accessories and games sold separately. Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Sonic, Tails, and Amy see the whole thing go down, and quickly deduce that Eggman used the power of the Chaos Emeralds to do that. Tails figures they can find the fat ass using the wavelengths produced by the Chaos Emeralds. Meanwhile, it turns out that despite putting on that whole fucking show and then screwing over the planet's tide system, Eggman's threats have apparently fallen on deaf ears. With only 6 emeralds, the cannon will take too long to recharge to meet their own 24-hour deadline, so they need to find the last emerald. Thanks to a little story in the newspaper, the three realize that Tails is in possession of that emerald. So they decide to keep a close eye on Sonic and the gang as they go on to hunt down
Knuckles!
Hey guys, long time no see.
Yeah, remember him?
Now that Knuckles has joined the party, they track the Mac Doctor to,
Of course! The only place that can hide such a hive of scum and villainy. Ancient Egypt!
Eventually our heroes break in but are confronted by Eggman. They quickly hand him his ass and blast off and...
Primary engine ignition on. Beginning liftoff countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shuttle liftoff.
What? Oh, guys, I've already seen what's ahead. This is nothing compared to those plot holes.
So yeah, Sonic and the gang board the Ark, Knuckles is once again split off to look for Master Emerald shards, and Tails has made a duplicate Chaos Emerald.
Wait, what?
Looks like it, doesn't it? But in fact, it's a fake one I created after researching the real emerald. It has the same wavelength and properties, but it's less powerful than the real one. It's designed to reverse the energy field inside the Chaos Emeralds and blow up. It looks so real, even a machine can't tell the difference.
Sure.
Knuckles and Rouge confront each other over the Master Emerald, but eventually the Batgirl gives up and hands over her shards of the thing. With the Master Emerald restored once more, Knuckles gets the fuck out of this plot before it goes any further south. Meanwhile, Sonic is about to insert the fake Chaos Emerald into the cannon's core, but right before he can do that, Eggman kidnaps Amy. So instead of just slamming that piss rock in there and then going after Amy, Sonic decides it's a good idea to take it with him, try and trick Eggman into taking it, even though he already knows it's a fake, and trap Sonic into a pod to eject him out into space and kill him.
Wait, what?
Now, for a little space ride. Perhaps we'll clear the colony bare.
I'm counting on you, Tails. Amy, take care of yourself.
Farewell, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic!
Farewell, Sonic, my admirable adversary.
Sonic!
Yeah, right.
So with Sonic dead, Tails kicks Eggman's ass, and Shadow sees the whole thing go down.
Maria.
For whatever reason, Rouge attempts to steal the 6 Chaos Emeralds implanted into the cannon's core, but is stopped by Shadow. Realizing that Rouge is a spy, he tells her to cut that shit out, but Rouge tries switching over the conversation to him. Poorly. She's also been doing some research into our dark hero, and has found this file on Project Shadow, the creation of the ultimate life form, with the only available photo being of this strange lizard creature.
Yeah. Well, you missed the caption under that photo that says prototype. And I've seen the file too, and I can tell that you just skimmed through the whole thing.
To firmly resolve this right now, no, this red-striped black anthropomorphic hedgehog is indeed the final product of the ultimate life form. That lizard is just a prototype which led to Shadow's creation. How did they go from giant-ass lizard to anthropomorphic hedgehog?
The answer may make you cringe. Thankfully, literally anything else comes up when Eggman informs Shadow that someone is trying to get to the core. Turns out it's Sonic.
Like that a surprise.
It turns out Sonic used the fake emerald to somehow harness the powers of chaos control, and somehow teleport back onto the Ark right before the pod exploded.
Wow, what an asshole. So instead, I'm just gonna say this happened.
Am I in Halo?
Knuckles, here's your bitch bag.
Thanks, Jesus!
Sonic makes one final effort to reach the cannon's core, but is stopped by Shadow. So he kicks his ass. The Eclipse cannon is destroyed, but Eggman gets away with the real Yellow Chaos Emerald. And usually that would be the end of it, right?
Dear God, I wish.
No, instead, with all 7 Chaos Emeralds placed into the cannon's core, a failsafe is activated where the Ark begins plummeting towards the planet below. Supposedly, with the combined power of the Emeralds overloading the system, the world will be destroyed in the resulting collision.
How?
I skimmed over this little detail, but Tails destroyed the cannon's power supply unit earlier. Sure, there might be more than one, but even then, we've seen what the Emeralds are capable of. While their combined force might be enough to simulate an atomic blast, I doubt they have enough strength to destroy a planet. But why is this happening in the first place, I hear you ask?
Hunker down, people. This one's a doozy.
The purpose of the Ark's creation was to quarantine those with severe illnesses and to house researchers to find a cure for those diseases. One of those patients was a girl named Maria, suffering from an advanced neurological deficiency disorder.
Don't ask me what her symptoms were, it's never explained.
At the head of this research, and the man responsible for the Ark's creation, was a professor named Gerald, who also created Shadow and the Eclipse Cannon. Then one day Gun came along and slaughtered everybody aboard the station. Why? I have no clue, but if I had to guess, it may have had something to do with Lady Anna of Oz being a fucking idiot again. Yeah, just go ahead and threaten the lives of millions of innocent people, Colonel. Wouldn't that result in again? Oh yeah, suicide bombers! So yeah, after a mass murder of hundreds of people in what was essentially an orbital hospital, Gerald's psyche broke and everything that has transpired so far was all set up by him. And honestly, I'm kind of on his side here. Not with destroying the world, no, I kind of lived there, but with getting revenge on a bunch of dickbags who shot and killed sick children in cold blood? Yeah, I support that. So everybody bands together to stop the Ark from falling, even Eggman, except for Shadow, who's just kind of sulking around until Amy happens by and helps him realize, and I quote, "Oh God, what have I done?" 50 years ago, during the raid on the Ark, Shadow was with Maria when she was shot and was forced off the station by her doing, but before jettisoning him to the world below, she made him promise to help people and to let them live happy lives. With this realization, he meets up with Sonic and Knuckles who have made it to the cannon's core, only to be stopped by the Bio-Lizard, the prototype of the ultimate life form. Shadow kicks its ass, but then the Bio-Lizard uses Chaos Control to merge with the Ark. And with that, it's time to use those morphers on Sonic's wrist to go Zeo.
Let's go! Yeah! Oh, hey, I did it! But why didn't I morph? Oh yeah. Maybe I should try having an actual Zeo crystal in there. But where am I going to find one of those? And again, I do have a worthy substitute. I wonder... Nah, there's no way this thing could be the real... Fuck it. Alright, if this really is the genuine article, then maybe trying chaos control would work. But how does it work? Just think where I want to go and then say, chaos! Control! Holy shit. This is the real deal.
So anyway, Sonic and Shadow go super, put the Bio-Lizard sits, and kill it. In one final effort, the two use Chaos Control to teleport the Ark back into orbit, but the overwhelming energy is too much for Shadow, and he falls.
Now, normally anybody would burn up an atmosphere, but remember, in a super state you're practically invincible, so as long as Shadow can remain in that state for long enough, not even the fall would kill him. Would fuck up his memory though.
But for the purposes of this story, Shadow is dead. Everybody mourns over his loss, and Sonic says he's sick of this shit and gets the fuck out of this story once and for all.
Whew. Wow.
So if it wasn't obvious enough already, I am not fond of this game's narrative. Before I give my final thoughts on this story, let's go ahead and review how the previous games have escalated the stakes. Yes, I'm still talking about that.
Sonic 2 escalated things with the Death Egg. Sonic 3, the Master Emerald, and the reconstruction of the Death Egg. Sonic Adventure, basically was just a water dude alone. This game introduces a hot topic wannabe son of a bitch, a Batwoman who doesn't want anybody to know she's really a hooker, a plot centered around a horrible tragedy that is never properly explained in this or any future story, and a conflict almost so black and white and over the top it may as well have been from a Saturday morning cartoon. I swear to you, if they just spent a little more time explaining what transpired when Gunn raided the Ark, then this would have become one of the franchise's strongest narratives ever. But because so little time is spent talking about that, we have something here that falls flat on its face. Hard. And it may have been because of that we never got to see anything like a Sonic Adventure 3. Not that this game is bad, mind you. No, a lot of people loved this game when it first came out. But looking back, it sure ain't no Shakespearean play. Speaking of play, SA2 isn't that much different from SA1 as a game. Last time there were 6 different characters to play as with 6 different styles of gameplay to accompany them. This time there are still 6 characters to play as, but there are only 3 playstyles here. Each of the 3 have been carried over from the last game, mimicking Sonic, Knuckles, and Gamma's playstyles, with high-speed action platforming as Sonic and Shadow. Off treasure hunting are Knuckles and Rouge, while Tails and Eggman are shooting up the place with their new little mech walkers. Another nifty thing that was changed for this game is that levels are no longer shared between characters. Each level is now specifically designed for one of the 6 characters in mind, which helps streamline their design and make the experience feel smoother. So don't expect me to give my usual level summary near the end. There are like 27 levels in this game, and zones haven't been a thing since Adventure 1. That, and I can't let these videos be going on for as long as 42 minutes anymore. However, the adventure fields, or hub worlds, have unfortunately been removed from before, which I understand. With how grand of a scope this game had, it seems like designing a world to explore for each general area would have been a bit of a hassle. However, what does return from SA1 are collectible power-ups, and boy did they come back in full force here. I'm not going to go into detail about them this time, but there are a lot more to collect here, and there are a lot more that are mandatory. And getting them all impacts this. At the end of every level, you are ranked on your performance based upon how many points you accumulated throughout the stage. Your total score is based upon how fast you finished a level, how many rings you've gathered, and how many points you raised by defeating enemies or doing tricks. This system fucking sucks and is outright insulting to people with poor playing skills. Think about it. You've just had a long day. You come home to enjoy a nice game and you don't do so well in a level because you're upset and unfocused. Well, here's your reminder that your day is shit and that you're shit. God, that pisses me off. This mechanic needs to go. No argument. Anyway, now I'm mad, so let's wrap this up before I get even angrier. Sonic Adventure 2 isn't a bad game. There is surely some stuff restraining it from greatness. A failed epic of a story and a lot of changes under and on the surface that kind of makes it feel like a spin-off from the first game. It's debatable whether those changes were good ones or not, but they did eventually lead to this. Not to mention a variety of new moves that conflict with one another, as they're all mapped to so few buttons rather than like the 15 on a modern controller. But many people remember this game with a lot of love in their heart because this game, like Sonic 2, was an entry point for a whole generation of kids. I know I haven't had nice things to say about this game, but I hope this review hasn't changed the minds of those who do love this game, because if you do, then more power to you. I don't want to ruin anything for people who legitimately love something. But Modern Power Rangers? Yeah, that sucks and you're stupid for liking it. Next time we say goodbye to the adventure games and truly say hello to the dark age of the Bluebird with Sonic Heroes. Until then, I'm David, and I'll catch you on the flip side. And, trying to find my way home.